Welcome to your last unit of the semester. This is the first video for the first lesson 4.1, reading from models, criteria A, B, C, and D. Our objective is students will be able to read an example, final draft literary essay, and IB examiner comments to help revise their own essay. So the question I want you to be thinking about, what is the final draft literary essay and how do I score well on it? It's your last summative assessment. And so your last chance to really affect your grade for the semester. We're almost there, folks. I can see that finish line, and we're going to get there real soon. All right, so let's talk how much it's worth, first of all. I made a pie chart here. Isn't it beautiful? Why, thank you. And this shows what all of the summative assessments are for first semester and how they all add up visually. All right. So the smaller chunks are the 50-point summative assessments. So that very first college application essay was 50 points. The Medea summative was 50 points. And then we had two mid-unit summative assessments for The Handmaid's Tale and the Things They Carried, each worth 50 points. And then we had two essays, each worth 100 summative points. So this last essay is another 100 summative points. So you can see it's worth a big chunk. And, so you're going to want to put some time, energy, and effort into this final summative assessment. All right. The final draft literary essay is our final summative assessment. It's sometimes going to be called in this unit the higher level essay. That's IB speak, and it's okay. It's a literary essay, and we're all going to write one. You've already written two. Now we're going to finish it up, turn it into a final draft. It's 100 summative points. This one needs to be a little bit longer than your others. So the Handmaid's Tale essay, I told you to have at least 500 words. The Things That Carried, I said have at least 750. Now I'm going to say have at least 1,200. And so you will need to be adding to the essay, but you haven't written an intro or conclusion or transitions yet. So those will be worth some words, and then, of course, you're going to get some more examples and expand on what you've said already in your essay as well. This time it will be graded on all four criteria. The last two summative assessments were only graded on the first two criteria, Criterion A and Criterion B. This one will be graded on all four. And this unit will take you through Criterion C and D specifically. And so don't worry about knowing what that is yet. We're going to get there. If you are doing the IB test, if you are an IBHL person, it is worth 20% of your IB score. So here is a pie chart for the assessments for IB. Last year, as an 11th grader, you did the internal assessment, the IA, that was worth 20%. Right now, this is the higher level essay, and we are going to submit it to the IB website. It is externally assessed. And then the rest of your score is made up of 2.5-hour exams that you'll do in May, paper 1 and paper 2. All right. You will be graded on all four criteria. So far, you've only been graded on the first two: knowledge, understanding, and interpretation, analysis, and evaluation. We are going to include Criterion C, focus, organization, and development for this essay, as well as Criterion D, which is your use of language. All right. You're going to use one of your last two essays. So either your, oh my gosh, it's driving me nuts, The Things They Carried essay or your Handmaid's Tale essay. All right, so you're going to take one of those two and add to it, revise it, polish it up, turn it into a final draft. All right, so let's talk about criterion C now. What is criterion C, and how are you going to be graded on it for this final draft, since I haven't talked to you about it really yet? Well, criterion C is focus, organization, and development. The first bullet point under criterion C, and the criteria are listed in your packet on page 3 as well. So if you want to, or it should be one of the early pages if it's not page 3. So if you want to read along there, you sure can as well. Okay, so the first bullet point, how well organized, focused, and developed is the presentation of ideas in the essay. What does that mean? Well, it means that you have a really clear thesis statement, and that your thesis statement is the focal point of the entire essay. Everything gets back to that point. Everything works to argue what you are arguing, what you're positing, what you are suggesting in that thesis statement. You're also transitioning from one idea to the next. They build off of each other, these ideas. It's clear how they connect and how one leads to the next. And then you have an effective introduction and an effective conclusion that sort of create, that create the beginning and the ending for your essay. The second bullet point, how well are examples integrated into the essay? Ooh, this is a big one. What does that mean? Well, it's all about integrating quotes. All right, we haven't talked about it yet. So we are going to talk about that for this unit. Now, some of you are already doing it. Some of you already know how to do this. And so for that lesson, you're going to breeze right through it. But some of you are not doing it. And so you'll need to take some time and hunker down and focus on what that means, and then is your essay so that your quotes are integrated. You'll also need a works cited page. This is easy because you can just copy copy this from someone else, i.e. me, and it's MLA citation, and so there's no creativity here. You just plug in what you're supposed to have, and I've made them for you so you can use them. Those will be at the end of your paper. Criterion D is your use of language. The first bullet point is how clear, varied, and accurate is the language. The second bullet point, how appropriate is the choice of register and style? Register refers in this context to the candidate's use of elements such as vocabulary, tone, sentence structure, and terminology. All right, so what are we talking about when we say how clear, varied, and accurate is the language? Well, we're talking about errors. You got to get rid of them. I have not even looked at them in your last 2 essays, right? So now you got to get rid of them. It's time to proofread. And you'll look at your grammar, your sentence structure, your formatting, your punctuation, your spelling, your capitalization, all of that good stuff once you're done adding to your essay. The best way to do it is to read aloud, preferably to somebody else, but you can read aloud to yourself. It's the best way to catch errors, especially with sentence fluency. And then as far as how appropriate is the choice of register and style, what are they getting at here? Well, they're talking about being concise. In other words, making your point in the fewest words possible. You want to avoid passive verbs and filtering devices in order to be concise. Now, sometimes this is tricky, right? Because I'm telling you I want this essay to be longer. 1,200 words. And so sometimes what students do is they start making their points just take longer to say. And unfortunately, that doesn't help you in the long run because it is going to hurt you in criterion D. And really, it's not going to help you in the other criteria either. Another tip, you want to make sure you get rid of I or my and any other personal pronouns. But those are all some of the things that you need to do for criterion D. All right, so let me explain how this unit is going to work. We only have 13 days left might vary a little bit, I guess. So we only have, we have a little over 2 weeks of class left for the semester. And during that time, we're going to look at a sample essay and take a look at what works well, what could be improved in that essay. Look at what IB assessors said about that essay. That's 4.1. For 4.2, we're going to focus on criterion C, looking at how to integrate quotes and then how to write a really good introduction and conclusion and transitions. 4.3, we're going to talk about polishing the essay, getting rid of errors, and then also making your writing more active, avoiding those filtering devices that are so easy to use and that make writing less active. 4.4 is finally using teacher feedback. So that's when you'll get your the things they carried feedback back, and so you'll be able to start using the feedback that I've given you on that, or the feedback from the Handmaid's Tale essay. And of course, the feedback is only on A and B, right? I didn't grade for C and D, so it's just on A and B. But you'll take that feedback and revise, make changes, add examples, go more in depth, elaborate, expand, all those beautiful things. And then you'll finally submit that summative assessment as your last summative assessment of the semester. It's worth 100 summative points, and you can't do this one late because it's the end of the semester. IB students, if you're doing IBHL, you will also submit this final draft to IBO, and I can help you do that in class, and it will be your higher level essay, 20% of your score. All right, so that's Unit 4. We're almost done. We're almost to the end of the semester.